tour. Let's talk about that. It's the One Foot in the Gutter tour. You've got 5 dates on the books so far. What was the impetus for doing this? And tell us some of the stories you're going to share for the first time as part of your act.
Okay, I'm going to tell you one of the real, and I've never said this before.
Exclusive.
Yeah, this is an exclusive, and I don't. If this gets me in trouble, I don't really care at this point. I had a venue that was a great venue in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was going to do was a night at the Cathouse with Faster Pussycat and LA Guns and Junkyard and Jet Boy. I think that's what I wanted to do, right? And I wanted to have like dancing girls and videos and make it feel really decadent. Everything was set. And LA Gun, I'm going to say it, I don't care. LA Guns pulled some, LA Guns manager, agent, whatever it was, pulled a lot of lame stuff. And I got I was still getting in a big argument with Tracy about it. And they just thought it was going to be the LA Gun show presented by Cathouse. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do this. And it just got really, really ugly because it was like, this is what we do I'm like, I just want to create something fun. I wanted to be the Cathouse. I didn't want to be a promoter of an LA Gun show. And they was like, well, Faster Pussycat's opening up. I'm like, it's the Cathouse, So I had this venue and it was this great venue. And I was like, I've always really appreciated what Henry Rollins does. Mm-hmm. And people have been asking me for a long time to write a book. Now, if I wrote the book that I would write might not be exactly what people want. If they think it's going to be one of those books, like, first of all, the book, Nothing But a Good Time, is a great book. I suggest people picking it up. There's a lot of great books about the 80s rock scene. But that's not what my book would have been. It would have been about what happened afterwards. It would have been, what's it like going from $500,000 to a year to 6 months later being flat broke and being a used car salesman. It would be about drugs. It'd be about getting arrested. It'd be the porn star girlfriends. It'd be all that stuff. That's what I wanted the book to be. And I was like, I have a really hard time sitting down and writing. I was like, what if I just told these stories? What if I got on stage and told these stories? How fun would it be? Because obviously I love to tell stories. I love to talk.
Yeah, man.
I was like, what if I got on stage and just started telling these stories? And then I sat down and things started flowing. And then I said, okay, well, instead of just telling these stories, what if I made a part of the stage look like my room when I was a kid? And I started talking about the stories of vinyl that affected my life. And what if I showed video clips when I was the top story in all the Los Angeles news channels for the wrong reasons? And what if and then I started putting this thing together and I was like, I think I got something here.
Yeah.
So I did one show and it was packed. And I am telling you that when I walked on stage and started talking, and even the 5 minutes before I went on stage, out of all the things I've done in my entire life, and I've had some incredible jobs, before I walked on stage, it was the greatest feeling I ever had in my, better than anything Cathouse or MTV or anything I've done. It was like, holy crap, like these people are here. And I hope this doesn't sound egotistical, but those people are not here to see Riki Rachtman introducing a band. These people are not here. Like, look, let's be honest. Nobody went to the Cathouse to see Riki Rachtman. People went to the Cathouse for this. When I'm on stage introducing a band, they're there to see the band. It was very weird. It's like the only reason these people are here right now is to hear my stories. And that was so flattering and so incredible. And, when people buy a Cathouse shirt, they don't buy it because it's Riki Rachtman's club. Maybe they buy it now because of the Headbangers Ball guy or whatever, but because they saw Tom Morello or John Five or Axl or anybody wearing it, So to know that people were at my show because they wanted to hear my stories, felt so good. And I went on stage and what was supposed to be 2 hours was 3.5 hours long, which is too long. I don't want to do it 3.5 hours again. But the stories were so good. And people saying like, dude, I was really inspired. I was like, wow, inspired, because I tell a lot of very embarrassing stories, and I tell a lot of stories that people want to hear. People want to hear about Nirvana on Headbangers Ball and the Alice in Chains water park and the Axl and Vince feuds and the things that happen at the Cathouse. And people want to hear those stories, and I give all those stories. And there's a couple stories about certain rock stars that when they find out that I'm telling those stories about them, they are not going to be happy with me at all. But I'm still telling these stories. And everything's true. And what I want this to feel like is that we're hanging out at the bar and I'm just shooting the shit. Because, you know, I there's nothing worse than hanging out with somebody and you tell them a story and then they feel like they're going to one-up you and tell you a story better. And I don't want to be that guy, but it's like every time somebody tells a story, it's like, oh, well, and I hate doing that because sometimes somebody will say something like, oh, you know, and then I got to see, I don't name a band. And then I was like, oh, really? Well, let me tell you about when they played the, and I don't want to be that guy, but I sometimes am just because I was in the right place, the right time.
Yeah.
So
tell us, your press release mentions a scenario where you sort of intervened between Axl Rose and David Bowie. What was that all about?
I didn't really intervene because I didn't know what to do. Because
what was going down?
It was the, and that's a big part of the show, so I don't want to go into too many details.
Okay.
But the night that Guns N' Roses, I mean, Guns N' Roses were playing with the Rolling Stones in front of like 100,000 people. And Axl said, look, we want to play the day before at the Cathouse. I was like, okay, legal capacity 600. I'm like, okay. He goes, and we're gonna play 2 shows, and we're gonna shoot the "It's So Easy" video there. I'm like, but when Axl says he wants to do something, I'm like, whatever you want. And it was that night, and let's just say that David Bowie showed up that night, and all of us love Bowie. I mean, our DJ Joseph was the biggest Bowie freak in the world. And let's just say Bowie was not the Bowie that we wanted that night. And he was just a mess. And things transpired throughout that evening.
What do you mean he was a mess? Was he just belligerent, or was he out? Was he wasted, or what?
Yes.
All of the above.
I want to get on stage with Guns N' Roses. Like, think about that. Bowie on stage with Guns N' Roses. But we had to tell him no.
Oh, wow. And that didn't go over too well, huh?
No, and then he did some other things that were very inappropriate, like try to pick up on Axl's girlfriend and stuff like that. And it was just it was a mess. And
so did it get to a point where there's a shouting match between the two? And
it got to a part where Axl's chasing David Bowie down the street saying he's going to kill him.
See, this is why we wanted you on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so to say I intervened. What do you do when somebody says, "Oh, Axl is chasing David Bowie down the street, saying he's going to kill him"? What do you do? You know what you do? I'll show you what you do. You just go like this. You go.
Start selling tickets. I don't know.
You just walk away.